Check 1 2 1 2 2 2. Check 1 2. Okay, don't want that. Go to the TikTok live monitor and we'll just roll here for a little bit. No internet connection. Well, that's nuts. Clearly on the internet. Okay. Chrome glitch. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Live from my not new studio, JFK, 60 years later. We talk about one thing on this channel, and it's the assassination of JFK. There are plenty of other TikTok channels on which you can watch people sing or dance or talk politics. This isn't one of those. Run this TikTok account for 2 years now, and it was supposed to be the diary of my pilgrimage to Dallas and Dealey Plaza, and I did that last month, December, combined with a work trip, and it was fantastic. And it was kind of like, now I've done that. Now what am I going to do? I don't know. What am I going to do? Hi, Bo. Barry White voice coming at you. It is cold here in my basement, and I need to practice looking this direction as opposed to turning my head or whatever. I'm still working out some of these details. How's the mic sound? Bo, let me know how the mic sounds. I guess if you're calling me Barry White, it's coming through like Barry White. Also new to the studio is I have this TV in the background, and so we're going to try. I just wonder if you can hear this. What would it be like to do a live in which you played video and then reacted to or reviewed the video while you were playing it? Might only be useful if you could actually hear the TV audio. So I just kind of did this on an impulse, so I'm testing it. Welcome in, Dr. Susan. The chat that I'm seeing is probably a few seconds behind what you're seeing. Mark Hancock, I'm with you. I've wanted to know how that could happen also. Yeah, I don't think I'm particularly concerned with hearing everything from the TV on this stream. It's just kind of ambience, right? So that's Senator Yarborough, who was in the motorcade and says that he shot. He smelled gunpowder. Is what that was his testimony. And within a matter of a few seconds after that, we turned on Elm Street to go down to get on the. I'm still fleshing this out. So I could put any number of things up on this screen behind me. It's all a grand experiment, right? John Connolly has always said, until the time of his death, that he heard the first shot but did not hear the second shot, felt what must have been the second shot. And for that reason alone, uh, according to him, he and Kennedy were not struck by the same bullet. If that's true, that blows the single bullet theory. And that's why what Connolly says is important. But people consistently uh, dismiss what Connolly says, and they just say, "Oh, the old man must have been wrong." Okay, he got it wrong. He doesn't. He was shot. He was in shock. He didn't understand what was actually happening, and plus we only have the 3 shell casings on the 6th floor, and so Connolly's just dead wrong, right? But but he never changed his story. Miss Kennedy, then I heard her say, "My God, I've got his brains in my hand." Got a wire here that I don't need. Excuse me one second. The car in front of us kind of casually looked around, looked up at the back of them, and rather slow to react. So went under the underpass and came up on the other side. I could see then the president's car. Okay, fix that. How we doing? Oh, okay, Mooey, Mooey 77, if that's how you say it. Hope it's close. I always feel like I've done a couple now, and I always feel like they can't. Like I'm afraid to watch it. Right? I'm always self-conscious about stuttering, stammering, saying and actually, like I'm self-conscious about doing something live. I'm self-conscious about doing this live, except that people expect it to be like this when you're live. They expect you to say, excuse me just a second while I scratch myself. I'm glad that it turned out all right from your perspective. I have not watched it yet. But that guy is a great guy, by the way. Robbie from Out of the Blank. First of all, he's very kind and gentle and really good at establishing the setup and working on the lighting and the focus and the volume and all that stuff. And I presume editing out some of my stammering. But he's done a lot of quality work on JFK, and it's not just limited to JFK. His podcast, Out of the Blank, covers a variety of topics that would all be interesting to people who are interested in this subject. You're also going to be interested in, say, Jack the Ripper or the RFK case for sure. So I'm going to continue to plug his podcast. And if anybody else has a podcast and want to talk about JFK, I need the practice, so I'm open to doing it. Just message me and we'll set something up. See, a pro wouldn't cough into the microphone live. I need a mute button. Maybe I've got a mute button. Maybe if I need to cough, I need to... Okay, now it's unmuted. Hopefully the sound of that cough was muted. Hey, thanks, Dr. Susan, for letting me know. Successful test. I would love to be on more podcasts. I got to get a little bit better at my rep. Everybody talks about something. So... This was the president of the United States, and they were taking him back to Washington. There was a lot of cursing going on. If the right part of this comes up, I will talk about it. Am I getting funny? No. Probably should. It's hard to believe, that grown people could be so childish about things and everyone trying to take over. Okay, happy Sunday night to everybody. I wanted to come down and play with a few more things like the lighting which is still not perfect. Now I look red. I've got an incandescent light on this side and a ring light on this side, and
over 50 known eyewitnesses believe that there was a gunman up on the grassy knoll, but the police quickly focused their attention.
that's too dark. That is unnatural looking. That's too bright. Let me just turn it down a little bit. That helps, huh? That looks a little better. Bo, whoa, hold up. Why? You're asking why did people run towards the hill? Don't they usually run away from gunshots? That's a great question. Why did people run? So many people run up the hill, unless they thought that they were going to try to nab the guy, right? But it sounds to me like you're agreeing that somebody was running up the hill towards something. So why indeed would they run up the hill? Stoolsy, what was your question? Can you elaborate on the rumor that J.D. Tippett's body was in Kennedy's coffin? No, I can't and won't. I don't think it's. I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to the body double theory. There are people who do subscribe to that, and I don't know. Okay, let me back up. In the world of JFK research, there are like branches of the tree that some people pick to focus on or not. One of those has to do strictly with ballistics and trajectory, and then there's another branch that has to do with uh, the Tippett killing. There's another branch that has to do with the autopsy and where the medical autopsies, the doctors treating Kennedy in Parkland and then moving the body from Parkland to Bethesda Naval Center, where the official autopsy was actually done. So that sort of melds into the J.D. Tippett mystery, because there is one school of thought. Let me stop this. There's a school of thought that thinks that Tippett was unalived. Okay, I got restricted because I contained unoriginal content. It doesn't like me playing live TV in the background. So I'm suddenly restricted. Okay, I kind of suspected that would happen. Anyway, I don't subscribe to the idea that Tippett was targeted and unalived for the express purpose of replacing JFK's body. There is a whole other crazy stream of people who think that that JFK faked his own assassination and went on to live in relative obscurity. But those are the same people who think that JFK Jr. is still alive and that he's coming back to be Secretary of State or whatever. Now, I don't buy into any of that. Bo, wife's grandfather was a Dallas policeman and knew Tippett. Okay, it is an interesting coincidence that because he bore a passing resemblance to JFK, that he sometimes had a nickname of JFK. But again, I don't think those are just a few of the weird coincidences, and I don't think it was part of the plan. Certainly has added to the lore, however. Okay. So if we can't play videos, I'm using my old MacBook to stream to the TV, so it is pretty slow. JFK History Talk. JFK History Talk at gmail.com if you want to send me your own pictures or video clips. But also, you could subscribe, and then you could get on my Discord channel, which I am hardly ever on. But there's also a subscriber-only message board, and those are just ways. If you, like, I don't see a lot of comments, depending on when I look. But I have had viewers send me things. Okay, with the live restricted, I don't have any idea how many people are still watching anymore. And as usual, I'm unprepared. And as usual, I'm in the basement where the internet is I'm as far away from the router as I can possibly be. Thank you, Dr. Susan. I usually have a couple of hundred, and it's so I blew it when I started playing YouTube. Try showing this in the background. Okay, in an example of extreme nerdhood, I now have another camera with an HD camera. Now, I went to Dealey Plaza, and what do you do first? If you've been talking about uh, going there for 2 years, and then you finally get there rather unexpectedly. Now, I'm there for a work trip, and so my time is limited, or I have to split it. I was only in Dallas for 4 days. So I landed on a Monday, and I planned to go to the museum on Thursday, um, and take the day off and be there all day Thursday. So that's what I did, and then I caught a late flight home from Dallas Thursday night. All of that worked out just fine, but I was fortunate enough to time my arrival in Dallas midday so that I would arrive in the afternoon and I would have some time on Monday afternoon. And so, man, I was boom, land, Uber to the hotel, drop off my stuff, grab my camera gear, and I had like something in every pocket: a 4K camera, 2 different iPhones, a collapsible tripod in my back pocket, all these other accessories stuffed in my pockets, and I Uber back to Dealey Plaza after having driven through it for the first time. If it sounds like I'm worshiping this place as if it was a temple, or just forgive me for a second because I was super excited. All right, so you're there. What is the first thing that you want to do, or top 3 things that you want to do? Okay, so here they were. Top 3 things that I went to in Dealey Plaza the moment I land there. Number 1, the sign on the corner of the Texas School Book Depository with the word allegedly scratched around it, which when I went on my tour with my guide, he said that plaque in that window has been replaced almost a dozen times over the last few decades because people continuously scratch scratch around the word allegedly to highlight it. And I'm sure the sixth floor museum doesn't appreciate that very much, or the city of Dallas, but they're so used to it that they just simply have a standing order for making more of these plaques, and they replace it every few years or so. At least that's what my tour guide said to me. So, okay, that was the very first place I went. The second place that I went was directly across the street from the steps of the school book depository. It's a straight line. It's straight out from the sixth floor window. Like there's no, you can stand at the base of the building and look up at the sixth floor, and if you just walk in a straight line across the street, in the crosswalk, of course, no jaywalking, you come to the fountain, and the fountain is the place that the Earth Cam looks down on, and that's the place where Howard Brennan was positioned when the motorcade drove by. He's seen in the Zapruder film sitting on the wall of that white fountain, and Howard Brennan is a eyewitness that the Warren Commission relied upon heavily, because he said that he looked up and was able, through those sun-reflected windows at 12:30 on an Friday afternoon in November, that he was able to see through the panes of glass in that window and see, give a description to Dallas police that involved the height and weight of the person that they saw, but also the detail that he was wearing khaki clothing. And he's on record specifically mentioning the khaki clothing, which, of course, we know Oswald did not wear that day. Okay, so a lot of debate on the channel last, I went live on TikTok right at that point. I'm over and I'm standing at that place. I'm just telling you my personal experience, because plenty of people like to argue on the TikTok channel, this channel, that Howard Brennan saw what he saw and he is above reproach, and that he was able. This is what Howard Brennan says he saw, that he saw whoever it was making sure that the last shot had been effective, and that he was satisfied, I guess, with the result before retracting the rifle. How far the Mannlicher Carcano may have stuck out the window, several people did see that. And I'm not going to argue that there was a rifle in the sixth floor window and somebody there, and that shots came from the sixth floor window. I think that there was. I'm never, ever said that no shots came from the window. What I question is Howard Brennan's reliability on the facial features, height and build, hair, all those details, and khaki clothing that we know Oswald didn't own. That's the part that I question, and it's just subject for heated debate. But my personal experience, remember, this was the second place that I went. My personal experience was to go and to that same place and stand there as a normal average dude, about, I don't know how old Howard Brennan was at the time, but I don't know, I'm looking up at that sixth floor window and I'm saying, I don't see it. For one thing, I had the advanced knowledge before even knowing, from previous pictures, that the windowsill from which the rifle would have had to protrude is very close to the floor. So the distance, the height of the windowsill of those windows, at least on the sixth floor anyway, is really only about 12, 14, 16, 18 inches, no more than 18 inches from the actual floor. And we know that the window is half open, so that creates a space, I don't know, the space that he had was about this. So down here windowsill. Up here, half raised window. Okay, rifle protruding through. This means that Oswald would have to have been, or whoever it was, the assassin would have had to have been kneeling or perhaps sitting, but probably kneeling. And it's further confirmed by the fact that this person had arranged 3 boxes to use as a rifle rest, or like an arm rest. Okay, I don't want to be too graphic on TikTok. I'm just talking about this in the most vague of terms. So 3 boxes remain in the window to this day. I'm sure they're not the original boxes. It's interesting that the boxes were moved during the investigation. There are definitely pictures of more than one box arrangement, depending on which picture you look at and understand kind of the details of the timeline of the investigation. Those boxes were moved. Hey, watch this. I'm going to pause, mute, and then cough. Note to self. The 3 boxes in the window today are just representative. They're replica boxes. And the boxes that are in the 6th floor museum in that little corner of the building, these are replica boxes, and that's not the point. You get the idea. I'm happy to suspend my disbelief and say, oh man, they still got the boxes stood there. Whatever. Today, the top box in the windowsill, I'm not giving away any trade secrets here, contains a camera that is the Earth Cam Dealey Plaza cam. It's live. It's 24/7. You can go look at it right now on whatever the Earth Cam website is. They have an app, and you can see a bunch of different places around the world where they have these live cameras. Dealey Plaza is one of them. That's strange to me, but also very interesting, and would be highly interesting to people, fans of the mystery, the case, people involved in the case. Look down, and I was reminded by somebody down there that it's actually possible. It's lags a few seconds behind, but it's possible to stand where I did and look down at the Earth Cam, at the picture, and see yourself and take a selfie with the Earth Cam, a picture from the 6th floor, exactly the 6th floor window. So that's what I did. That was the number 2 thing that I did upon arriving in Dealey Plaza. The number 3 thing, then, you're trying to take it all in, and you want to try to divide your time equally between each of these little places, like standing where this person stood, and I spent time on the storm drain. By the way, people, I don't believe the storm drain was involved. I've continuously said that. But behind the picket fence was definitely a place that I wanted to go. And so I did that, and I was live while I was doing it, and I was holding 2 cameras at one time. And that's what yielded this video, because this is me with 2 cameras behind the picket fence.
Mounted on top of it. Whoops. Format.
And so it's in my left hand and a little bit awkward.
People are going to think I'm really weird.
This isn't the original picket fence, by the way. It's been replaced several times.
Okay. Now I'm shooting in 4K.
Interesting. I wonder if TikTok will think that I am once again broadcasting
In addition to my regular phone.
unoriginal content, even though this is my video with my iPhone on my TV in my studio. The TikTok is weird. It's just an algorithm. Anyway, so it's supported by a wire. I don't know why I'm pointing at it. You can't see me point. That fence is surprisingly short.
Wide open parking lot.
And the parking lot behind it, on that day at least, was completely empty. I mean, it was right before. Actually, that was Monday afternoon, and the museum isn't even open on Monday afternoon. So of course the parking lot was empty. man, what a thrill to be there. Um, those were the top three things, and there were more, but those were the top three things that I did in Dealey Plaza. The sign on the book depository, the fountain looking up at the window, and then stand behind the actual picket fence. And when you stand behind the picket fence, you think, oh yeah, that's actually probably a better place than the sixth floor window. But we're not going to go down that road right now. Okay, what's my time here? 30 minutes. Ugh, I am not well prepared for this. I am going to make a new slideshow and then hopefully be able to put that slideshow with quiz questions on it in the future. So, but I got a hard week at work this week, which means I need to go to bed early, which means because I have to get up early, I need to go to bed early. So, okay, this was all.